got over here and bought property here back in about 43 or 44. I think it was after I graduated from high school in 45. I spent 2 years in the Navy. At that time, the war was over with. I went in right after they'd dropped the atomic bomb and the whole darn war was all over with it at that time there. 47, I was back here out of the service, and I've been here ever since, working, building and rebuilding the moorage here. With my dad working with me here. He wasn't real young at that time. He was well into his 60s at that time. But he lived to be 96, I might add to there. And so if I can live as long as he did, I've got another 9 years to go. Of course, I'm old enough now. I'm trying to put myself out of business, you might say. I'm not taking on new boats because of the fact that you get a new boat in here, if they'll pay you a month's mortgage, dump the boat, and then you've got to get rid of it. I've had to get rid of a lot of boats around here over the years there too.
It's nice to be here, to honor and remember a friend of all of ours, Ralph Criteser. Ralph's 91, right? In the early years, Ralph took care, not only took care of us, but took care of our boats. Our boats were like his family. And a lot of us came here with not a lot of money and not a lot of experience in boat work, and Ralph kind of took us under his wing and made sure that we sailed out of here safely, and really was responsible for any success that any of us might have had in the fishing industry. And I'm not sure he's received enough credit for that. So Ralph, we're just real proud to be here today and thankful for everything you did for us in the past, which was a lot, personally. And I think the rest of the people here could say the same thing. So anyway, let's give Ralph a big hand for everything he's done for all of us. And I think, Bud, if I'm correct, Ralph donated the Rex to the Port of Toledo. Is that correct?
Right.
And you're going to rebuild it? And
yep. And we're going to keep it authentic, same colors. We might even have to put numbers on it, though, Ralph.
Ralph, before we watch the boat, would you like to say a few words? Oh, come on.
Tell us about the Rex.
Well, that was about 51 years ago when I built it. Built it right out here. At that time, there was a lot of steel boats being built around here. And, well, it's been used for a lot. Well, it kept me in operation here the whole years I've had it there. Before building the Rex, me and my dad, we built a little small 4-inch suction dredge here, pipeline dredge. Dredged this out and made the moorage here, and filled in the land out here too, which nowadays you couldn't even do that without so many permits. You couldn't get to the whole place with it.
Right.
So,
DSL's his favorite people.
Tell us about wheel washing.
That's illegal.
Well, this boat here kept me in business there for many, many years because I was wheel washing with it there. I've got a steel wheel on that boat right now that's got hardwood all over it there, and I had flooding tanks in the thing so we could sink it down where it draw a lot more water, flush the mud out of here. Which nowadays that's not considered legal at all. And
It's a family secret.
yeah, that was a secret. Not only that, I built a blade that dropped down off the front of the boat here. There's sockets back here in the middle of the boat, and I still got all that hardware. If you want it, you can have it there.
Okay.
And it's a blade that I could drop it down and push against the bottom of the river, blow the mud out behind me. Yeah. And that went on for many, many years here.
During the hours of darkness, Ralph?
Pardon that?
During the hours of darkness?
Mostly during the hours of darkness.
Yeah.
The muffler is a thing to behold. It's
That
the
little
world's
muffler up
class
there is
671.
something that you can run it wide open and the neighbor can't even hear you. And there's another muffler in there. If that muffler was taken off, it would bark like any other Jimmy, right? Yeah.
Does anybody else have any Ralph Criteser stories they'd like to tell while we're here today? I know there's a lot of them out there.
I'll tell one.
Okay.
Ralph, you remember when we brought the roar up when I first had it? The second year I had it, you taught me how to take an engine out, and you built me a fuel tank. And I didn't have very much money. I think it was like $400 for a 400-gallon fuel tank or something like that. Less than that, maybe. And we couldn't get it back in the boat, and you built it so precise. I wasn't strong enough to put it in place with all the come-alongs. Yeah. And you got a guy named Fred that had the Fargo. He was a great big guy. Fred Larson. And he came over and put his back into the fuel tank and lifted it up and put it in place. I never forgot that. I was going, because I was a kid sitting there in the middle of it. How in the world am I ever going to get this fuel tank? And you told me to go get a man to do the job when all the machinery was doing.
You're still looking out there.
I did a lot of things here with the crowbars and come along here. You got to come along for lifting things there. This place couldn't have been built even there. And I built this hoist out here for putting boats, engines in and out of boats, which a lot of that went on over the years too there.
I got one quick one. Mark Stone, I used to have the Sevilla. Hi, Ralph. Ralph was a superb master woodworker in addition to his metalworking abilities, but he hated woodwork. And when I hauled my boat out of here, and it needed a lot of woodwork, so suddenly he became the world's best teacher of woodworking. And pretty soon he had me doing everything, and I think now he was just trying to get out of the job. But thanks, Ralph. You started me out on boat work, and I really appreciate it.
Well, I had as much as 3 boats up there at one time on the ways there. One time I had one at the top working on it, partly tore up there. One on the cradle down below. In the middle one there, I had one in there blocked up where he couldn't go in till the others went in. He had to put them in the right order and all that. So, and I was snowed right then for a lot of work. I put in terrible long hours in, the day and night. I didn't stop working then. You know. I'm a workaholic, what it was. Now I'm so darn lazy I won't do anything.
You earned it.
I think Don Brown, who lived across here, and Ralph got to be friends, and we all know that there's a number of ways of doing something. There's the easy way, there's the hard way, and there's Ralph's way. And Don was helping him remove a plate, I think it was, or something that had Don described it as it had most of the bolts in the world holding it in place. And he was working on it with a box wrench, and Don says, you know, if we just used a ratchet and a power driver, it'd be a lot faster. And Ralph says, no, we got to use this. Well, then Ralph got a phone call, so he went up there. So Don grabs this ratchet, and Ralph comes back. He says, boy, you work fast.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm old-fashioned on everything there.
Ralph hauled boats for me for 30 years, and I'd just like to say you were a tremendous asset to the community. The idea that you could haul a boat and do paint, zincs, and a little bit of welding the zinc on the rudder, and put the boat back in the water and drive away for a quarter of what it costs you to do it down the street, made a lot of difference for a lot of people. And yeah, absolutely, and we're all very much in debt for what you've done for us. So thank you.
Anybody else?
I got a story. I was Ralph's neighbor here for years and years, lived up on the top of the hill. Before this was all paved, it was gravel. And he used to let the kids come down and, before he chased us off the dock, fish off the dock. When I got my first swim bike, I rode down that hill, and I didn't know how to use the brakes. came down, and before it was dredged out, went under his house here, the boathouse here, and hit the pilings. He looked down there, finally grabbed me, grabbed the bike, and pulled it out, shook me off, had a big knot on my head, called my mom, and my mom came down and got me. So I thank you for saving my life.
I got your name out there.
I remember the very first time I came here with my father. I don't think we even had a boat here then, but that was, I told you yesterday, the day of the earthquake in Alaska. And the log booms all broke loose.
Oh, no, I've had a lot of boats.
There was logs going back and forth. Every tidal surge, they would go this way and then they'd go that way. Well, Ralph was out there tied to him with the beaver, trying to get a log. And he'd be going that way, and then he'd turn him all around, and he'd be going that way. Dad and I stood down there and just laughed.
That's when he decided to build the Rex.
I remember calling up the paper plant up here in Toledo at that time there. That was the night number after I got all wore out now. I've been up all night here.
Chase the logs.
Trying to get the logs keep hitting the boats here. And there was one big barge out here that was loose two empty barge. It could have done a lot of damage. It might have hit around the boats or so. And called up Fred Hoffman with his tubs came down here. And they had every tub they could. I told them on the phone that they'd get every tub you can out and start gathering up logs because they're all over the river there. They didn't know about it at that time, but it didn't take long that they were here doing the job here anyway though. But the river was full of logs here though. We had a log jump across the river here that was very active and a lot of logs tied up everywhere around here. And now there's no log rafts at all in the river any place. That's the difference up there.
Well, Ralph, for not having much to say, you said a whole bunch. We really appreciate all your stories.
And we're going to miss the tide if we don't hurry up.
Thank all of you for turning out. How's your son doing?
Well, he's getting better.
We're gathered around today to launch the Rex, which Ralph built over 50 years ago. And Ralph, as you know, has been a real savior for the commercial fishermen through the years. So Mike Kriz just told me that this boat's probably moved more mud than the dredge Yaquina. But if you look up on top, we've got the world's quietest muffler up there, built by Ralph. For reasons we won't disclose. It's been my pleasure to know Ralph for a lot of years. My brother and I built a sailboat up in his boathouse. We were up there for about 4 or 5 years. I can't say enough of what he's done for the commercial fishing fleet. Well, with that, we're going to launch it, Ralph. The Port of Toledo, he donated the boat to the Port of Toledo, painted the lettering, just exactly like you had it, Ralph. We tried to copy it. We took photographs, and then Norm Halsey did that by hand. And our crew, the fab crew, the paint crew, the electrical crew, Josh, and everybody, Dave Stoker did the mechanical. We took an engine, another fresher 671 from a boat we scrapped and put it in it. And went all the way through, sandblasted inside and outside, replaced the bad steel in the boat. Tried to keep it as unique. It doesn't have the A-frame, but we saved the A-frame. So basically the A-frame, he'd anchor it, had ballast tanks in, he could squat it, had a steel prop on it, and he could wheel wash. We're really lucky to have Ralph, and he's got a ton of respect from everybody that knows him.